subject. Um, and it, oh, I get put in spots, but so basically my channelings are about everything. And when they feel a need, um, to talk about subjects, sometimes I'll put certain subjects off that I'm not comfortable chatting about. Um, and so I'm kind of trying to get over that. So we are going to talk to Goddess Hecate, and she's going to cover this. So I'm going to first talk about the research I did on this, because women need to know and be comfortable with their bodies. And so, how do I even talk about this? Um, so, I guess I'm going to just say it. We're going to be talking about masturbation. And now, if you come from a religious standpoint, if you are not married and you are not to do anything prior to being married, which is the stupidest, ludicrous thing that you could deny yourself of. So when you are young, you're in self-discovery, and men, this is just a natural, normal thing for men. But for women, it's something you kind of have to grow into and kind of understand your own body. And so I was raised that you were never to do that, ever, until you were maybe married. And then then you are taught all this is wrong and bad and don't do it, don't even think about it. And then you get married and then everything's okay. And you're going, well, what? You just get like, okay, I know nothing. And so I think what the spirit, and I think what she's going to kind of go through, and mostly with women, is that there is a reason God gave us certain pleasures in our life. And you need to understand it and not let society and religion deny you of that pleasure. So, that being said, on the outside, the inside, this is what I was trying to study, is what is the benefit inside us to have this pleasure of masturbation. So it releases dopamine, and there's another release of another substance. And it's for females. I'm really going to talk about females right now. For females, especially females that are not really sexually active, it is a good thing to keep that dopamine going, and to keep those, how do I say it? Because I didn't know as you get older that you lose elasticity. And I worked in OBGYN. And we had on a certain day, we had a psychologist, a nurse, and a doctor come in that were just for sexual problems that women were having, especially women that were getting older. And a lot of husbands came in with the women, and a lot of it was psychology, with the mind, and women's bodies change as they get older. And I didn't understand that you lost elasticity, and things just didn't work the same. So if you don't use it, you don't lose it. So women, they were thinking, if we don't want it anymore, then does it harm us when we do want it? So trying to figure out how to say this and be politically correct on this. So it was very interesting when I would work on those days, and you talk to the psychologist, and there's ways to strengthen women's health, um, and and if they're married, to reactivate them wanting sex with their partner again. Um, and this is all was all new to me. So I think between partners, you have to continue to keep that dopamine going, keep that self pleasure going. So now, that being said, um, it was very interesting that as I was doing research on this, that porn, pornography, can deaden the stimulation cells. So, really, pornography um, is a visual. And so, I wish I could remember the other chemical that is released on the brain in orgasm. Um, but by watching pornography, it it starts deadening the stimuli. And the more you do it, the more you do it, the more you do it, you focus on your eyes to have the stimuli instead of the touch. And so what they were saying is that porn can deaden the sexual tendency because you're deadening the stimulation of another person or feeling, touching. So then you have to go into either harder porn or you have to go into something else to start stimulating you, because then it's not enough because you've seen it all, and it's the stimulation has to go into more either erotic, or you just start going down a rabbit hole. So basically they're saying that be careful with porn because it can ruin the stimulation of orgasm for a person if it's, I don't know what I'm saying, if it's not controlled, I guess. So porn can deaden the stimulation factor, put it that way. So I'm not a huge fan of porn. Um, Actually, when I was dating, I was using it as a tool to understand what sex was about, because I was raised in a religion where you just don't know anything. So I used it more as a learning tool. Um, and I think women can do that. I don't know. I don't think men need it, but sometimes women that are in a controlled religion, you use it more. I used it more as an educational avenue. So let's talk to her. It's probably more information that you really wanted to know. But if you don't want to know the subject, then just turn this off and go on your way. So let me bring her in and see what she wants to talk about. Because you guys, you have to understand this is God given. God gave us these erotic zones for a reason. And it's not dirty, it's not filthy. And used correctly, it is a good thing. And it's a good thing for our body. And I do believe it can keep you younger by all these stimulations. If you do it correctly, I think it can keep you youthful and stress-free. And I think it's a necessary thing that we need in our lives, between partners or even with a partner. Goddess Hecate? Very good. Thank you for the lead-in to this vessel. I don't know why this is an uncomfortable thing to talk about to you humans. God is good, and God loves you, and He wants you to be happy, and He's given you pleasure. Man has pleasure, woman has pleasure. That being said, your pleasure is to be controlled and maintained. It isn't for any type of fornication. Man, you have seen through the years, does not know how to control himself. It's been happening all the way down since the first of man. God is a respecter of man. God wanted man to have all sorts of pleasure. And women also. Women have a harder time understanding how to have pleasure. And this is what they need to practice on. Your sexual organs are a very important part of your humanity, if done correctly. They are of God. He gave each one of you a pleasure point. And that pleasure point is magnified when two people come together. But when done separately, we want you to know that it is a very personal, erotic zone. It is something that basically you need to master. And it is healthy. Self-pleasure is healthy. And it is safe. Women need to understand this. That you need to understand that you must continue to enjoy this. You must continue to have your own self-pleasure and pleasure in partnership. This gets lost in marriage. This gets lost in your society. This is something that you need to work at. This is something you need to understand. And it's something that you need to want. God has given this to you forever. It means something to your whole body. Men know this, and women need to understand it. It is a part of your body that you do not use enough. It releases chemicals, not only the dopamine. There's other chemicals and strengthening inside your body that is necessary for your orgasmic times. It gives you rest. It gives you the contractions that you need inside your body to keep it strong. Women have longer orgasms than men. And when fully attained correctly, it gives you muscle contractions, which are necessary for the inside of your body. Not only do you keep the outside strong, you need to keep the inside, womb, and female organs strong. This is not talked about, this is not shared, but it is very explicit and important. When the orgasm occurs, the mind shuts down for seconds. This is important for the erotic zone to shut down the mind, even though 10 to 20 seconds. You don't know that this is very necessary to release the mind in this way. Men understand this. This also happens with men, even though their orgasmic time is less than 10 seconds. But it is necessary to shut down the mind. It rids you of depression. It rids you of many mind-altering, problematic symptoms. We wish this was taught to you in a more effective way from when you first start your sexual activities. Sex is correct, but only in a controlled, loving manner. It's hard when you bring confusion of outside influences into the mind for stimuli. You are not made for outside influences. You're made for touch. You're made for love. And you're made to bring two people together. Sexual organs, sexual desires is a natural, organic symptom of the human race. If you did not have sexual feelings, no one would get together. God made this so for attraction, for the stimuli, for the love zone. It is not carnal. It is not dirty. It is beautiful, if done correctly. And it is necessary for your bodies to have the stimuli. It's up to each person how often. Men need this more often than women, but women should be receiving the stimuli several times a week. The brain needs this. The body needs this. The body needs the contractions for strengthening inside muscles of your sexual organs. Study this and research this in your own natural environment. Women need to understand themselves. They need to understand their bodies and their pleasure zones. And you need to practice if you are not doing this at this time. In marriages stop. People stop having sex with each other in marriage. This is unnecessary. You must have a healthy relationship, and you must have a healthy sexual relationship. This is necessary for a marriage. This is necessary for a relationship outside of marriage even. God does not judge if you have sex outside of marriage. This is made by man to control people. He does judge. And when I say judge, I say that as a loose word, for I know you have talked about this word, but he does desire you to have this in a love zone relationship. He does not like you to have relationships, sexual relationships outside the boundaries that create harm for you or the other partner. This is a gift to both of you. It is a gift of great bonding. Any sort of stimuli is a bonding. As you understand each other's bodies, that's a bonding. Don't misuse your gifts. And I'm not so much talking with women, more men, as men are subservient to the organs. You need to control it. You still can have your pleasures, but it is made for bonding. Men need to understand that. It's not made just to place your organ here or there in another. It is for bonding. And that will give you the greatest pleasure. And this is something that should always be talked about in relationships, is pleasure, and understanding how each pleasures each other. Many people don't talk about this enough. They just act upon it, and then sometimes it's not as pleasurable because it's not discussed. All aspects of a relationship should be discussed. And this should be the highest topic of pleasure and how to pleasure each other through a relationship. We know that this is not discussed enough in your society, and it is actually becoming out of control, more animalistic, and the bonding is not there. So that creates selfishness, self-servant, where you don't care about the other, you just care about your own pleasure, and then you move to the next. Did you know that most of you think the grass is greener? That you have a partner and then you choose to have another partner because the grass is greener. Sometimes that's a very destructive habit. When you bond with someone and you have that bond and or commitment, hone in on that person. If you hone in on the person that you choose to be committed to or bonded with in all aspects of life, and you just focus there, that is your greatest success. Because what have we been talking about? We have been talking about mind control of yourself, intelligence. When you stop using your intelligence and thinking with other organs and selfishness, your life will not be mastered. So when you choose to have a relationship and bond with another and have that intimacy with another, master it. And master yourself in that relationship. Because if you choose to go to greener pastures, because to be honest with you, there will always be greener pastures. There will always be someone better that you could find. But will there be? Really? How successful has that been for you? And for women, you must learn to pleasure. It is necessary for you to understand your bodies, understand what you want in a relationship, understand what you will accept in a relationship, if need be. But as you are between relationships, you must understand yourself fully, and you should give yourself happiness fully. This is not a wrong thing. God has given this to you, and you need to master this also. It's healthy. This is healthy. And it is necessary not only for your brain, but for your inside organs. Study it. Research it. Understand when you do have an orgasm what it does to your body. Because it's necessary for you to always continue on. Thank you for letting me talk about such a sensitive subject to your humans, where this is just a common denominator in our lives. We do not hide from this. We do not are shamed from this. It is natural, and it is given to you by God. So why would it be dirty? What makes it dirty is what your mind does. It is meant for bonding. It is meant for resting. It is meant for your inside bodies. So please understand these words. Do the research that you wish to do. Come to an understanding. If you are committed to someone, to continue on with a healthy sex drive between the both of you. And it's something you should talk about. People do not talk about this enough. It must be a communication factor, just like everything else. And men need to master their minds. They're failing in this sexual orientation, and they need to master it. And when they're in a relation, they need to master that relationship and not think that the grass is always greener. And what if there was someone better that would come along? It's an incorrect thought process. When you make that choice and you make that commitment, you stay with it. And you fully talk about it with your partner. And you both understand your sexual drives together and keep it healthy. I end this transmission.